was an unusually calm and quiet night, when my life took a turn I could never have imagined. The desert stretched out before me, endless and silent, as I drove down the lonely highway, hoping to make it home after a long trip. The night sky was vast, its stars brighter than I'd ever seen. The moon, almost full, cast a ghostly light across the barren sand, and the hum of the engine seemed oddly soothing to I was at first. Though I had driven this road countless times before, tonight, something felt different. The air was unnaturally cool for the desert, and I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling creeping up my spine. I glanced at the dashboard, my fingers tapping nervously on the wheel. I turned off the radio, preferring the silence, but it only made the quiet more unsettling. Then, without warning, it happened. The headlights flickered, dimmed, and before I could react, the engine sputtered. It was as though the desert itself had swallowed my car whole. The engine died completely, leaving me stranded in the middle of nowhere. I tried to start it again, but the car remained lifeless, the dashboard lights now nothing but shadows in the dark. I stepped out, hoping to stretch my legs and clear my mind, but the silence, it was deafening. No wind, no sound of animals, just the empty desert, stretching endlessly in all directions. My boots sank into the sand with each step, the only sound breaking the silence. That's when I heard it, a whisper, so faint, I almost convinced myself it was just my mind playing tricks. But then the whisper came again, clearer this time. A soft, distant voice, calling my name. My heart pounded in my chest. I looked around, but there was nothing. No one. And yet I couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched. And then I saw it. A figure standing just beyond the edge of the moonlight, motionless, watching me. I wanted to run, but my feet refused to move. As I called out, there was no answer. Only more whispers rising around me like a storm. But the figure remained still. Then it stepped forward, tall, too tall. It wore dark flowing robes that shimmered unnaturally under the moonlight. And though its face was hidden, those eyes glowed. Faint like embers dying in the night, yet somehow burning bright enough to pierce through the darkness. I froze. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. The stories I had dismissed as myths, legends of Jinn suddenly came rushing back. This was real. The figure's voice echoed inside my head, deep and ancient, as if the words were being spoken not by its lips but directly into my mind. Jinn voice, you should not be here. I barely managed to find my voice. I didn't mean to intrude, I whispered, my words trembling. My car broke down. I was just trying to get home. The Jinn's glowing eyes narrowed, studying me with a silent intensity. The air grew thick, suffocating, like I was standing on the edge of something dark and unfathomable. His presence seemed to fade with the same strange quiet that had settled over the desert. You are fortunate, the Jinn murmured, his voice distant, almost fading into the wind. But be warned, human, do not venture into these lands again. Next time, you may not be so lucky. And then, before I could respond, he was gone, dissolving into smoke, vanishing into the night air. I didn't look back. My hands were shaking as I gripped the steering wheel and sped away, my heart pounding in my chest. The desert stretched out endlessly before me, the road dark and unforgiving. The whispers of the Jinn faded behind me, but his warning lingered in my mind. I had survived. But I would never forget that night in the desert, where the boundary between our world and something ancient and terrifying had blurred, if only for a moment. That night, I learned that some legends are more than just stories. They are warnings. And I had met one of those legends face to face, and lived to tell the tale.